We're getting back to the garden after the last video update on the vineyard. Things are so much further along and we're getting into the harvest season. Even though it was still early in the season, I was getting a significant harvest already. So I'll be continuing to give you these seasonal progression videos from last season. I think it's nice to live vicariously in the middle of winter by thinking back to the previous season and getting excited about the next season. I have pictures of my vineyard in bloom with irises from last season as the wallpaper on my laptop, and every time I see them I just think how beautiful the vineyard is and how much I enjoy tending it through the season. This is the Abenaki flint corn here, and well, getting some corn smut growing on some of these ears, which is not good. This over here is the much more vigorous variety called Incredible sweet corn. And it's got these large ears, really big ears. Not all of these have filled out yet, but you can see like this one is just huge. And some of them even have 2 or 3 ears per plant. There's a popcorn. I don't remember what variety I have, but the stalks are much taller than the sweet corn or even the flour corn. So my entire meals lately have sometimes been just like sweet corn. So this is what I'm having for breakfast. Trying out, this is the espresso sweet corn. And I can tell that some of these might have gotten pollinated by other corn varieties because I have like 4 different corn varieties growing in my garden. 2 of them were like releasing pollen at the same time. There's also, corn in the area, and corn can pollinate other corn across miles because it's wind pollinated. So sometimes I probably get some GM corn because everything that's grown around here is genetically modified conventional corn. But it's probably more rare. Some of this might have been pollinated by the popcorn out there, but we can see how this tastes. It's got butter and salt on it. It's pretty good. It's not incredibly sweet. I'm going to compare this to the Incredible corn. Do a little taste test. I don't know if the Incredible corn is quite developed enough. I might have picked it a little early. If you pick it too early, it might not be as sweet as it could be. But this one I think is definitely at its maximum sweetness. I did pick it yesterday, so it's not as fresh, and corn loses its sweetness really quickly. Here's the Incredible corn. Yeah, this variety is much better all around. It's even like pretty sweet at this stage. So I won't be recommending or buying espresso variety of sweet corn anymore. And I definitely recommend this one called Incredible.
This is what the ripe Santorini Italian heirloom tomato looks like.
So this strange looking tomato here is called Santorini. It's obviously an Italian tomato, but it does a great job of like ripening on the vine. It's a pretty cool tomato. And I'm just growing it out mostly for seed. I'll use these as well. Prefer to let them ripen on the vine, but the rabbits or something is coming in, maybe raccoons, maybe rabbits, and taking bites out of them. Some of them come off in complete clusters of fruit. And this one here is obviously crossed with something else because it looks like a Santorini in some ways, but it looks like a Santorini that has crossed. Look at that one. It's just so much bigger and fatter than the other Santorinis, which historically have not been this big. This variety here is called Sheboygan. And I think the reason I stopped growing this one, I was growing it out for seed, but I think the reason I stopped growing it is because it splits really easily and then it just rots. This one I think is Super Italian Paste, which is a great tomato. There's some of it over there, but the lower ones are getting nibbled on by something.
With all the harvest coming in, I've got all the ingredients for making that salsa I've been wanting to make to restock my shelves.
So I just put up a few dozen pint jars of salsa. This salsa is pretty spicy. It's got garlic in it, tomatoes, peppers, onions, oregano, black pepper, salt, vinegar. I've been doing a bunch of repair work in the tea cozy for Danielle and Nathan. Just fixing little things that are wrong, and there's some plaster that needs repaired, so sifting sand here, screening it to get the larger chunks out, and I've got lime plaster and earthen plaster to make. Mixing up a quick preparation of juice. This is pear, grape, and blackcurrant juice. Just mixing up with some honey in it to sweeten it. My honey, all my juices as well. So it's really good.
Sweet corn is coming in faster than I can eat it fresh, so I'm processing it for freezing. Some of it I've also been adding to my salsa batches. Last year's garlic is on its last leg, so I'm processing it for dehydrating in my solar dehydrator.
In the earlier video, I talked about this pepper that I got seeds from that I found at an Asian grocery store, and I called it Dong A. And this is what it looks like. It's pretty much exactly the same as what I bought from the store, and these are just such vigorous, amazing chilies, and they are just loaded with peppers. Did a good job with saving seeds.
The popcorn is doing really well so far and coming to the end of its season. This Abenaki Calais flint corn is not impressing me this season, and I think this will be the last year I grow it. One other thing is that something's been chewing on the tops of the ears of both this and some of the popcorn. It's either rats or deer because it doesn't have the telltale destruction of the raccoons, who will just devastate an entire bed of corn overnight. The onions I harvested a while back and left in my woodshed to cure are ready for processing and cleaning.
look like a lot, but that's my harvest of onions. These are the storage onions. I did already use up a bunch of non-storage onions in a salsa batch I made, and also I've been eating them pretty regularly. And then these ones are for storage. There's also these rejects over here that are already have rotten spots on them, so I need to use them as soon as possible. Usually set these aside for stuff like salsa. So like I was saying before, I'm not really impressed with the Abenaki flint corn. It's just the plants are not vigorous. And, it's not super productive. I feel like a different corn would be much more productive. I'm just harvesting these because they're done. And
It's an abundant time of year with all the corn and other crops being harvested. I had a little visitor for a few days.
Cricket. Hi, Cricket. How you doing?
It's always nice to have Cricket visit me. All those melons I showed you in the earlier vineyard videos ended up ripening perfectly, and I had an abundant harvest.
This is my breakfast this morning. So this is what pears from a cluster look like when you don't thin the pears. So misshapen, diseased, lots of bugs in them. Versus like some of these other ones that were thinned, which have most of them, the lower branches I'm able to thin, but it's the upper branches that I can't reach, and those ones have a lot more ugly pears on them. So this is the popcorn. Before I left for a week or so, it was still growing pretty well, and now I love that how corn does this when it is fully ripe. It just kind of like falls over and hangs down like this. Just so cool, because that's how you know when it's ready to pick it. And some of them are kind of like that, and some of them are half down. These ones are not, obviously, because that's not done, but this is looking good. I was a little bit worried that I'd get something like rats or something eating my popcorn, and it looks like I might get a full crop. And if I get a full crop out of this, that's going to be pretty amazing. This is a lot of popcorn. Now I'm just processing this popcorn, and kind of reminds me back in the old days, from what I understand. Obviously this wasn't something that I did growing up in the suburbs, but there used to be shucking bees. So a bee was just like a gathering of, I mean, most people know a bee from spelling bee, but there's knitting bees, there's shucking bees, there's probably other kinds of bees that I don't know about. But people used to grow tons of corn, probably not popcorn, but different kinds of corn that they used. And so the whole community would get together and help harvest everyone's corn. So they were cooperating as a community. And then they would it took so much time to hand shuck all of their flour corn and their feed corn that they would just get together and just hang out and shoot the shit with their neighbors and all work on shucking corn. Now that wasn't just taking the husk off of it, but that was shelling the corn as well. So different activities, and this was, I guess, before they had, even hand crank shellers, or maybe everybody just couldn't afford those. And also maybe before the days of like the traveling, what did they call them, who went around with basically like a big motorized belt driven machine and could process everyone's corn that way on a large scale. So this was the days of the shucking bee, and it was just getting together with your neighbors and processing your corn. But I don't have nearly that much. I don't have a lot of neighbors growing flour corn or popcorn at all.
I don't know if anybody here does that other than me. But it's enough that I can do it by hand and it doesn't take that long if it's just for me. But probably back when people were keeping back corn for feeding their livestock, and they had enough that it took them a really long time to process, and they were growing huge fields of the stuff. But it doesn't take me that long. Bundle these up and tie them up together like I did with the other corn. This is the whole harvest of the Abenaki flint, and then this is the popcorn. And there's some that I've already braided and hung up. This was the abundance of my harvest even as early as August. So if you enjoy my videos, give this one a like and click the bell to get notifications when I post a new video. And if you'd like to support the production of more of these videos and get a sneak peek of all my videos as well as other video updates you won't find on my channel, become a patron at patreon.com/hardcoresustainable. And I'll see you next time. Do you have a small business and just can't seem to get your books together or keep them up to date? Set up a free consultation with Soul Power Bookkeeping and I'll set you on the right track. You won't have to worry about accounting or bookkeeping ever again. And you can feel good about the fact that your books are solar powered because I'm solar powered.